Alright guys, it's Coach Evan Macklin. What if I told you the key to unlocking your full potential is taking these simple, tactical steps to dominate what we call these little separation seasons that you're gonna need in your life in order to get further than anybody ever thought you could and anybody that you're competing with. Stay tuned to this video. It's gonna unlock those separation seasons for you. Let's go. So I'm going to talk to you a lot about things that my mentors told me, and I'm going to give you so much damn knowledge by the end of this. It's going to shift your identity. And in order for you to have that breakthrough on the next level, you can never out-earn your own self-worth. I want you to write that down. You can never out-earn your own self-worth. So today, this video is to actually boost your self-worth. But let me explain what identity is so that way you understand. Ed Milet, one of our coaches, explained to us like this. There's a thermostat. Imagine in this room, it's 75 degrees. But the second that door opens up and it's 60 degrees out here, the inside of this room just cools down. It cools down to 65 degrees. A lot of the times in our life, we might be a cool 70 degrees, and when we get around an 85 degree or a 90 degree or 110 degree person like Andy Elliott, we raise our temperature. It could be the same in relationships. You hang around a lot of people that have good relationships, good marriages, and you fight a lot with your wife, and maybe you don't have that. When you get around them, it raises your identity. It raises your temperature. Think about your finances. If you're hanging out with a bunch of broke ass losers, all they do is hit the bar. All they do is spend all the money that they don't have. You spend money that you don't have, and it lowers your financial identity. But you get around a millionaire, say you have 650 credit score. You start hanging around a guy that's got an 850 credit score. He's a millionaire. All of a sudden, your credit score goes up. Your financial acumen goes up. The way you talk, the way you think about business, it goes up. It raises your identity. So this internal thermostat that you're gonna have, it's gonna be regulated by a lot of the people that you're around, the thoughts, the mindset that you carry, and you wanna start to raise your identity in all these areas. If you can do that, what'll happen is you'll start to believe in yourself, you'll start to make more money, you'll grow a better team, you'll have more impact, you'll be happier. We're gonna get into a tactical step on raising your identity and then ultimately keeping it there. Because a lot of you guys, you raise your identity, right? The temperature in the room is the correct temperature, but then you let different things come into your life. It's like this external level of control. You believe that all the outside forces dictate your internal thermostat. It doesn't work like that. You have to be able to control your thermostat. You have to keep it raised up. You have to keep it running hot. Your enthusiasm, your passion, your intensity, it's all got to be raised up in order for you to go to the next level. I know that you believe that. That's why you're watching this video. Hey, it's the Macklin twins. Thanks for watching the video. You want the free personal development guide that's going to change your life for free? Go ahead and text our phone number 480-780-2203 and it'll change your life forever. Let's get back to the video. Text us right now. Let's go. You just may have never heard it explained like this, so pay attention. Step number one on raising your identity, you gotta have faith. Say it with me, faith. Write the word faith down. You gotta have faith in yourself. Let's start there. Why don't you have faith in yourself? Why don't you start believing that you're made to do this? Why don't you start believing that you have a calling? That the reason why sometimes you have those daydreams of this big life is that might be God himself telling you that you're made for more. Why don't you start to have faith that you are God's son, that you are God's daughter? Okay, I know when I gave my life to Christ, I started to believe that there was way more at play and God's got my back. And so I want to give you a tip. I get on my knees and I pray every day. I pray over you guys. I pray over myself. I pray over my team. I pray over my family. I pray on the way to work. I pray on the way home from work. I do a lot of prayer, and it helps me be able to articulate what I actually want in life, and I put it out there, and I believe that God's going to help me go out there and get it. So why don't you start figuring out a time where you can sit with yourself and maybe say a prayer, okay? If you're not religious, no big deal. Why don't you sit with yourself and give thanks and gratitude? Gratitude is the healthiest human emotion. But if you're not religious, I would suggest you do a little deeper dive into your spirituality side. One of the most key things on anybody that I've been able to meet that's influential is they're very tapped in spiritually on who they are. But I sit down every morning, I do my prayer, I do my gratitude, and I set my intentions. Write that word down. You need to set your intentions. You need to set your intentions for what the day is going to look like. Maybe that's how much money you're going to make. Maybe that's how much impact you're going to have. Maybe that's your intentions for doing the right thing with your customers. Set those intentions. Make sure you've articulated them. You know, I come into the day, I get out of my cold plunge and I say a lot of affirmations. But one of the affirmations that I say is I'm meant for this. I'm meant to help a lot of people. Big energy's flowing my way. The right people are flowing my way, right? I say these things and I intend for them to come correct. And I also say I'm a motivator. I'm a leader. I'm going to help a lot of people today. I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to make a lot of impact. And I say these things and I believe them. I'm convicted. I'm very convicted. The best salespeople and the best leaders in the world, they're very convicted, okay? This comes into association. Okay, association. You're going to have to associate yourself with different people that are hotter temperatures in some of the areas you lack. So if that's fitness, if that's health, if that's marriage, if that's sales, if that's leadership, if that's somebody that's more passionate, more grateful, they have a better relationship, you think, with God, they're more spiritual, maybe they understand it a little bit better. You're gonna need to write down 3 or 4 people that you want to intentionally associate yourself with. I obviously run with Andy Elliott, and I run with some very powerful entrepreneurs. Andy runs at a hot 120. I run at a hot 110. When I'm around Andy, I'm naturally going at a higher state, a higher temperature, because the guy has no off switch. Some of our entrepreneurs or salespeople that run with us, they might be the hottest in their circle running at an 80 or 90 degrees, but when they get around us, we raise their state. We re-inspire them with new knowledge and new information, and just the way that we run with personal excellence, that they might change a couple of things in their life. One of the biggest things at the Elliott Group, one of the things that we're most proud of, is we want to inspire other companies with our culture of personal excellence for them to raise the standards and raise the temperature in their life. You can do that too, but you're gonna have to be intentional with the people you associate with. If you're constantly associating with other losers that are 60 degrees in other areas, you're gonna lower your state and lower your temperature to their temperature. You're never gonna be able to separate from the pack if you're constantly in these little areas. I guess I wasn't doing enough personal development back in the day, where I just thought, I grew up with that guy. It's almost like I felt obligated to hang out with these losers. Once I cut them off and actually moved to another city and bet on myself and said, listen, I'm not just gonna drink with these guys on Saturdays. I'm not just gonna be around these losers. I'm gonna go work on myself. I'm gonna go put myself through something with some people that are higher degrees, higher temperature people. It changed everything in my life. And what I found out was none of those guys, none of them even ever hit me up really. And some of them I was like financially responsible for helping pay their damn bills half the time. And then when I went off to have a big life, they didn't care. Some of the people that you're constantly associating with, if you left, if you went and did something, or if something happened to you, man, they wouldn't care about you at all. So let's just change it. Let's just change who we associate with. Step number 2 for separation season. If you want to separate yourself, understand what separation season is. There's going to be some times where people slow down, they relax, they chill, they let off the gas. Usually it's weekends, usually it's holidays. Usually that's when people are drinking, partying, hanging out, just doing that normal shit. Think about how many days, if you actually looked at how many holidays and how much time actual people take off, but they act like they need that time to just chill and unhook and just go do whatever the hell they want to do. If you could get really tactical in those times and push forward through those times, I'm not saying don't have good holidays. I'm also not saying don't take days off. I'm saying be tactical with the ones that are coming up. Towards the end of this year, you're going to have Christmas, you're going to have Thanksgiving, you have all these holidays back to back. Are you going to drink throughout those things? Are you going to be hungover the whole time? Could you start to maybe get sober right now, so that way when you go to those holidays, you don't have some of those vices, some of that food that weighs you down? Like, could you get healthy right now? Could you come up with a game plan, meal plan? Could you start prepping right now? Do you know that if you didn't drink on a Saturday night and be hungover till Monday or Tuesday the next day or Sunday, those 2 or 3 days are going to separate you so far? If you compounded those over a year, you're going to have all the separation you need to grow the business. Okay, what's more important to you, hanging out or the business? So decide how you're going to outwork your former self. Decide how you're going to outwork your competition. Go into it tactically in advance, saying, hey, listen, if I'm going to chill today, if I'm going to chill on the weekend, what I'm going to do is I'm going to learn for 30 minutes. I'm going to work out for 30 minutes. I'm going to do these things on the days that I'm going to chill. I'm going to actually earn it. I'm going to be more consistent than everybody else. I want you to be intense. I want you to pursue your dreams with so much passion, but I also just want you to be super, super, super consistent. Let me give you an example. On the days you don't want to go to the gym, on the days that you don't want to learn, you're not going to be intense and all excited about those days. Those are actually the most important days. Those are the days where I'm just talking about be more consistent. Over a long period of time, what will happen is this. I've got so consistent in the car business for so many years that even the people who came out of the gate really hot, say I was in year 7 and I was consistent for 7 years, guys. I was one of the most consistent salespeople that ever sold for my brand, and maybe in the country, in any brand. If somebody came up and they even did the work for 2 years, but I had did the work for 7, and I had did the work in the off season, I had did the work during the holidays, I had did the work on the weekends, even if they got really, really good, they still could never catch me, because I had been building my brand. I had been posting to social media. I had been consistent with my learning, my knowledge, my fitness, my everything. So even if this person was a rock star, they're the rookie of the year in the business, in the dealership, on the solar team, whatever it is, they could never catch me because I had done the work for so many years. And most of the time, those people could only do the work for 2 or 3 years. See, my separation season over that decade made me look like a rock star. Even on my days that were bad days, I could still sell more than them because I had built a business that separated itself. I could have 2, 3, 4 customers coming in to buy a car from me, and no matter how much work they did, they couldn't do that on their best day. But my brand had did the work. My intensity had did the work. My consistency over the decade had did the work. That's going to be where you actually separate. So just start to think, use your mind when you want to wind down, when you want to chill, when you have a bunch of different things coming up, weddings, holidays, different things, can you start to look at that differently as that separation season? Step number 3 for separating yourself. I want you to write this down. Behavior shock. Some of you guys right now just need to shock your behavior so that way you get a new identity. Right now, if you work out 1 time a day, but you're not seeing a lot of results, why don't you take it to 2 times a day? Okay, why don't you take it to 2 times? You're gonna do a 2 a day for the next 30 days and see what happens at the end of that 30 days. See the results that you start to get. Now you're starting to separate yourself from the old you. In separation season, I'm also trying to pull myself away from the old version of Evan that's constantly fighting to get me to become that same old lazy person that procrastinates, that doesn't do the work, that says I'm gonna do something and doesn't follow through. No way. Why don't you double your cold calls? Double them. If you're trying to get good at building a brand, why don't you double your social media posts? For 30 days, find an area that you're running low in, your degree, your temperature is very low at, and why don't you double the action? Massive action is the cure-all for everything. Put yourself through massive action for 30 days in one area right now. I want you to write it down. The 30 days in one area that you're gonna choose. Maybe it's fitness, maybe it's business, maybe it's your relationship, maybe it's with God, something. Write it down. Step 4 in adjusting your identity up and separating yourself. Why don't you evaluate and eliminate some things in your life? Why don't you do this? Write a stop doing list. Some things that you need to stop doing that don't serve the future version of you. Write them down right now. Write down the stop doing list, the things that I could eliminate right now that keep adjusting my identity down. These things don't serve your relationships, they don't serve your business, they don't serve your mindset, and they definitely don't serve you becoming that next version of yourself. What do you keep doing in order to become like the ultimate winner that runs hot like an Andy Elliott, a game changer like an Ed Milet, a freaking world changer like an Andy Frisella, anybody that you look up to, any athlete, anybody, LeBron James, anybody that's just a freaking stud, a world champion, one of the Olympians that just won the gold, you're going to have to stop doing some things that don't serve you. And you know exactly what they are, but you keep bullshitting and you keep sweeping it under the rug like it's just okay to do. Okay, those things that you know that you shouldn't be doing, by sweeping them under the rug, internally it brings down your self-esteem because you know you're not keeping your promise to yourself. In order to have that high frequency, in order to separate yourself and be able to run differently, you're gonna have to eliminate those things so you don't have a little bit of dark energy in your heart on things that you know you're not doing. Step number 5, guys, you're gonna have to tell yourself a new story. The same old victim story, the same old bullshit, the same old thing you've been telling everybody for years. You gotta stop. Knock it off. Turn the page on the new story, man. Write it down right now. Maybe you write down new story and you put it in a journal on who you're gonna become, how much money you're gonna have in the bank. You start to kill off the old version of yourself. Nobody cares about the complaints or the things that happened when you were a kid or these things. I know some of them may have been traumatic, but listen, are you just gonna keep running around and telling everybody the same old bullshit? Or are you gonna become one of these people that's the overcomer, that's the comeback kid? Man, those are the people. Listen, and the crazier your story is, the cooler it's gonna be to be able to tell people how much you overcame it. But if you never actually get fucking intentional on exactly who you wanna become and where you're going, you're never gonna get there. So write down the new story. You're gonna turn the page and you're gonna start to write down exactly what that's gonna look like for you. Step 6, man, join the freaking Elliott group. Join the Elliott army. There's never gonna be another company that's gonna push you harder than us and harder than our company, man. We love you guys. We get so much support from millions of you from all around the world. We are gonna be here to push you for the rest of time, but you're gonna have to make a decision right now to surround yourself with greatness. Join our school community. It's in the description. Like, follow, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, man. Be around us. You know, and I want you to think about this. Go back through step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go back through them. Understand them. Who are you associating yourself with? Who are you putting yourself around? Association, the faith that you have, man, getting closer to God, your intentions, leveraging these separation seasons to get you further, the behavior shocks that we talked about, to shock that behavior, to create those new identities, writing that new story. Man, I want you guys right now to share a couple of your experiences right now below that you've used maybe in this video that have created a new identity. And also, I want you guys to come back to this video and watch it a few times. I want you to implement these steps into your game right now. I want you to implement them. I want you to go back and I want you to understand your breakthrough's coming. Your breakthrough is coming. You're meant for extraordinary things. You're gonna have a massive transformation and you're gonna be one of these 110 degrees in all areas of your life, not just one. That's what the Elliott Group believes in. We believe that you can earn you can earn it all. But I want you to go back through and I want you to implement them. And I want you to grow in all these areas. And I want you to be happy. happy. I want you to be successful. I also don't want you to just chase money and not chase all of these things. If you can chase all of these things, the money and everything is going to be a byproduct of it. You're going to be a badass. You're going to be proud of yourself and you're going to be extremely happy. Share some of your breakthroughs on our channel. Share some of them in the comments and let's go kick some butt, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go.